Alright, so just a quick lesson on how this works, how to go through the log, how to make changes, yada yada yada. So here we are, we're looking at the numerical version of the log. So what we can do is we can zoom in here by hitting the up arrow. We can actually see the spot in your cruise where you were. So we can see your tens. Now I made some changes to your map which might affect this, so maybe just keep this as a lesson on what I'm talking about when I say smooth. So we want 12.8 here as the target says, but we're not getting that. So what we're going to do is we kind of see that we're staying in and around this area. You can see it kind of moves. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take a chunk out of this whole thing. So I'm going to multiply. I guess I'm going to use my handy calculator. So we want 12. We have 10.68. We want 12.9. So we're going to divide them. That gives us with a correction factor of 82%, 83, let's say. I'm going to go 85 just because I don't want to go crazy. So I'm going to go star 0.85. Enter. So now, an easy way to kind of see this effect is to go to your 3D map. So we go up here in the corner to this 3D portion. We see what we've done here. You see that this correction that we've made has made a very, low part in the map. Now, if we go back, we can assume that going from here forward, yeah, it's going to need more fuel, but maybe not that much. So what we can do is we can loop this off. We can go back. We can see that now we've looped this area off. Maybe I don't want that lower cell here, so we're just going to take these, just these red ones for now. These are previous changes that I made and kind of set back. So we have those looped off now. Now we're going to go back into the 3D and see where they're looped. So the quickest way to me would be to observe the changes that we've seen here and maybe bring this down to suit. So we're just going to do that just for showing purposes. I'm hitting A, and that's subtracting the whole thing. So now it's looking a little smoother, but we're still left with a void. So we're going to go here, and we're going to, oh, what am I doing way over there? Okay. We are going to find our spot here. There we are. So you can see we're kind of here, and you can see there's an obvious huge change in cell. So we're going to take this, we're going to go all the way over. So you can see that. Now I'm going to use the A. So you can see I'm kind of just using that to smooth it. You see how I keep everything smooth. Again here, we're way below idle, but I think that was a problem with your previous map, which I've changed. So we're just going to try those changes. But if I was doing this, let's say the idle was a little bit high. Here I am. I've looped off these cells. You can kind of see them here, in the 2000 range. And I'm bringing them down just to kind of smooth things out. This won't, you kind of have to get a knack for it, but it works once you kind of understand what you're doing. So you can see it's a little smoother now. You don't want to do things like this. Like here, this is what you don't want to do. Okay, let's say you find this cell, or let's go further in your log because I know you hit boost a few times. Let's go here. So here's a boost pull. So you're down here, and you're fairly within your target. But let's just say you do what a newbie does and you just change this cell. Let's say that you take, let's say you add 10%. So we're adding 10%. Now if you look at that, that's going to look like garbage, right? So you don't want that. So what then you're going to do is you can assume that it's going to use more fuel further on as you go through the RPMs. So what we're going to do is we're going to increase those to suit. This kind of roughs in the map. I know this isn't realistic right now, but this is kind of what I would do. So you can see that if that spot's going to use more fuel, then you know every other spot's going to use more fuel. So I'm just bringing it up. This is just a demonstration. Bringing it up. We're going to bring that down a little bit. Oops. Bring that down a little bit. Bring that up a little bit. You know, drag across here. Right, you can see I'm just going to select this valley that I've created, and I'm going to bring that up. Because you know that obviously it's going to use more fuel as the RPMs go further and the load goes up. Now this being TP, the throttle position, it's a little bit different, but the idea is the same. You want to keep everything smooth, you know. So you could go through here and you could kind of smooth that out. So that's kind of the smoothing thing. Now, I'm just going to reopen your map. I don't want to save these changes. So let's say this interpolation function we've been talking about. Let's say we go to timing. Here's our ignition timing table. Just for fun, I'm going to zero this all out and show you how interpolation works, the function. So we're going to go 0. Okay, now that's all 0, right? So let's say you're making a new map and you want to set it up. Okay, so as load increases, timing decreases. So you're at 11, you know, coming into boost, you're a little higher. Let's say we're going to make this 4.5 and we're going to make it down to -3, just for fun. We're going to go like this. So I've looped off those cells and I'm going to interpolate vertically. So now you see it's actually drawn a line. It's actually put numbers in between these 2 points. That's what interpolation is for. So then what I can do is I can go the other way. I can go 3.4 degrees. So let's say I want, you know, 18. Let's say 18 degrees of timing. Then what I can do again is I can loop these off again. Oops, kind of made a screw up there. I'm just going to use the keyboard. So to loop off a bunch of cells, you hold shift and move your cursor. So I'm going to move those over. I'm going to right click. This time I'm going to interpolate horizontally because we're going the other way. Right? So now I've interpolated horizontally. Now what I can do is I can say, okay, by 260 kPa, I'm only going to want 5 degrees of timing. So let's do that. So we can go 5 degrees, -3. We can draw that line again. We can interpolate that horizontally. Then we can do the whole thing. Sorry, we can do this over here because we still have zeros here, right? So we can go like this, interpolate vertically. Then we can interpolate this whole thing horizontally again. We can do the whole area. So we're going to loop it off. And now it's magically decided not to let me. That seems to be a bug. Okay, so we're going to interpolate horizontal. So now you see I've very quickly populated that whole area. It's not smooth, it's not how it should be. I would probably be going through and doing a little bit of this, you know, just to kind of give it a curve so that it's not all flat, but this is a good starting point. So that's the interpolation function at work, which is different than what the ECU does, interpolating between cells, guessing to fill in the blanks. So anyways, that's lesson 1. We'll talk about it later.